All right, welcome to lesson 1.2. Let me share my screen and let's get rolling. Lesson 1.2. Here it is on my Google Doc lesson plan, lesson 1.2, right here, script mode versus REPL mode. The objective of this lesson is that students will understand the difference between script mode and REPL mode. REPL is an acronym for read, evaluate, print, loop. It's an interactive shell or console mode. So there are two different ways to interact with Python. So let's open up a Python console and just do some simple math. Within PyCharm, you can open up a Python console with from the View menu, Tool, Windows, and Python console. So I'll flip over to PyCharm and do that. I'm gonna go to View, Tool, Windows, Python console. Okay, once again, I'm in PyCharm. I went under the View menu, Tool, Windows, Python console. And up here, down here in the bottom left area of my screen, opened up, what's it called, a Python console. And so we can issue commands. We can say, hey, what's 1 plus 2? Should be 5. Yep, sure enough, as we'd expect. How about 56 divided by 8? Should be 7. Correct. How about 76 minus 20? That should be 56. Yep. So this is the REPL, in that you issue a command, it evaluates it and prints it back to you, which means it shows you the result. Print in computer speak is it shows you the result on the screen, and then it waits for the next command. That's called REPL or interactive shell or console. So that's one way to interact with Python. I encourage you to stop the video if you like and take a minute or so just to get familiar with using the REPL. Ready, set, pause. All right, welcome back. So that's the REPL. Let's look at another way of doing this, another way of interacting with Python. And that is to open up a new file, to create a new file and put all your Python code in the file, save it to your hard drive, and then run that file with Python. Okay, so let's try that. Let's open up a new Python file within PyCharm. In the left-hand menu, we're going to right-click on the project name. I called my project Sandbox, and so that's what I'll be looking for. I'll right-click on Sandbox, I'll click on New, and then Python File. Let me do that. Right here, I see on my left-hand menu, I see the project. There are a couple there's just one project, Sandbox, I already created previously. So I'm going to right-click on it, go to New, and then choose Python File. Not just File, but rather Python File there. And it's going to say, what name do you want to give this? And I'll just say, I'll call it Chalkboard. Chalkboard. It's like a digital chalkboard here. So you can see at the top portion of my screen, it opened up a new file and the cursor is blinking here, and it's called chalkboard.py. So all Python files have the .py extension, the file extension. You know how like Microsoft Word documents have a .docx extension, and Excel files, Microsoft Excel files have a .xlsx extension. You know, Python function or Python files, that is, have the .py extension. And so if I were to put those same commands in here that I just did a minute ago, so 56 divided by 8, 76 to minus 20. Okay, so if I write those in here and then I save my work, you go up to the file menu in PyCharm and click on Save All. You can see there's a keyboard shortcut on Mac of Command S. On Windows, I assume it's Control S. So I'll click on that. So it saves it. And then I'm going to jump back over my lesson plan real quick. So I just wrote in a few of those same simple math functions. I just saved the file. I'm going to run it. So I'm going to go up to Run, the Run menu, and look for Run, and then select the file name and push Enter. Okay. So I'm going to do that. Run. And then the fourth option down is Run. There's this one up here, but I'm going to click the fourth option down and make sure I'm going to click on Chalkboard. So there's several file names in here. I'm gonna click on chalkboard, which is what I just called this file. And down here in the console or the display area, it changed from what it had before, but it doesn't show me 5. This line number 1 should give me 5. This should give me 7, and line number 3 should give me 56, but it does not. It has nothing here. The reason is because I didn't tell Python to print it out to me. Once again, print in computer speak means just show the user what's going on in the program, in the file, in this py file. Okay, so that's why it didn't do anything. It didn't show me that it did something. I know that it did it. It actually went through those 3 computations, but it didn't display it out to me. To have it displayed out to me, I need to use the print function here. Okay, so I'm going to put all those 3 mathematical operations into a print function. Okay, so I'm going to flip back over to PyCharm. I'm just going to go ahead and put parentheses around that and then say print. And I'm going to highlight all of that and click on the opening parentheses to put parentheses around there. Print that out as well. Going to highlight all of that, put parentheses around there. So I have print. Let's look at line by line here what's going on. On line 1, I have print, open parentheses, 2 plus 3, close parentheses. Line 2, I have print, parentheses, and then the mathematical operation. Same thing with line 3. So now when I save it, I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut on my keyboard, Command S to save it. I'm going to go back up here to run and click on chalkboard. And now down here in the bottom part of my screen, the console, I can see, oh yeah, okay, now we got 5. So the first line, print 2 plus 3 gives me 5. The second line, print 56 divided by 8 gives me 7 there. And the third line, 76 minus 20 gives me 56 there. So it's actually printing it out to the console so I can see what it's doing. So I can see that it's done it correctly. So that is a big difference between a script that is a file, a py file, and the console. Whereas in the console, you type something, you push enter, and it displays what the result is. With the script, it doesn't do that unless you say, hey, print it out to me so I can see what's going on, what you got as the result. Okay, so that's a big difference between script mode and REPL mode. So we could do this in a console window real quick. Or, I'll just do it in the script mode either way, but I will need to put it in print. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to save this I'm just going to use the same file. I'm going to do print, single quote, hello. Outside of the single quote, I'll use a plus sign, single quote, world. Okay. And then I'll do the same thing over here. The next line down on my lesson plan is hello, asterisk 3. So I'll do print. I'll use double quotes here. It doesn't matter in Python which one you use. So I have on line 6, I have print, open parentheses, double quote, hello, close double quote, asterisk 3. Okay, I'm going to save this. I'm going to run it. There actually is a shortcut. Okay. So there we have those 3 things again, but down here is what we're looking at. So line 5 printed out this hello world. Hello world, like that. So the take-home message here is that when we're dealing with strings, right, we have a string here between quotes. The plus sign simply concatenates or brings them together into one string. And that's what we see down here in the console display right there. And here the asterisk, which with numbers multiplies them, right? 2 asterisk 3 would give us 6, right? 2 times 3 is 6. With the string, with one of them as a string here, with the string asterisk integer, it's going to multiply, that is copy this string 3 times because we said 3 here, right? So we have hello, hello, hello down here in this final output, this final line of output there. Okay. So once again, you need to be aware that with numbers, whether they're integers or floats, that is numbers with decimals, plus and the plus sign and the asterisk do addition and multiplication, right, respectively. But with strings, they do different things. So with the plus sign with strings concatenates them, which means brings them together to one string. And the asterisk copies or multiplies it, copies it the number of times you have as an integer there. So hello, hello, hello. Okay. So that is a quick rundown of some of the differences between a script mode and a REPL mode. Let's see here. Oh, I see. This is a good practice. So I'll put this in my script here. I'm just going to copy that little piece of code off my lesson plan, bring it over into here, and save my work. I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut to do this command of run chalkboard. Once again, there's several ways to do it. You could come down here and click on that, or you could do that. Okay. And I purposely made it throw an error. It's going to throw an error, and it did. So it says, I say on my lesson plan, read the last line of the error code or the error message that the interpreter throws or prints. What kind of error occurred? Okay, so the last line of this red stuff says type error. Can only concatenate stir, not int, to stir. Okay, once again, like I said, when we have a string and we have a plus sign, it's going to concatenate, which means combine into one string. But it's saying, hey, I can't combine a string, which hello is, with an integer, an int, because 4 is an int. Okay. And so flipping over back to my lesson plan, I say, look up the stir function and to see how to convert an int or a float or a Boolean to a string. So if I were to do that, I would just Google Python stir function like that. And I'll just click the first one. I can not even click on it, just look at the results there. The stir function returns the string version of the given object. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. So we need to use this stir, str, short for string, function to convert this 4 into a string. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put str open parentheses and then do a close parentheses. All right, I have 2 sets of closing parentheses because one is closing the stir function and the other is closing the print function. So now if I run this, I'll come up here to run chalkboard. And now it did not error out and it concatenated hello with string 4. That is a string version of 4. Okay. So that is a quick rundown of script mode versus REPL mode, lesson 1.2.